welcome to today's episode of T-SARP. I'm your host, Andrew Weir, and today we have Sam on the line, and we're going to be talking about the motion blocks of Scratch.
I lost my streak of being special.
Yeah, you're no longer special. You complained earlier to me why I was very special, and you were only special, so I removed the special. So, yeah, or I guess Scratch and Hatch. We're gonna be talking about the motion blocks. This is gonna be the first episode in our 9-episode series of the different blocks in Scratch. So we're gonna be starting off with motion, then looks, then sound, then events, then control, then sensing, then operators, variables, and my blocks. Now, these episodes aren't gonna be every day, they're gonna be scattered. And also we might, if you want more, if you find this really interesting, we'll also go over some of the extensions too. Some of them are not able to be used in school really, like the Lego ones and the Go Direct Force and Acceleration. But we'll talk about the ones you can use and what they do. But for now, we're on the motion blocks. So here's a brief concept if you have no idea what a motion block is. It's a block that has motion. It moves your character around the screen. So without the motion blocks, your character would be static, unmovable. So some of the motion blocks include move 10 steps, turn 15 degrees, change size by 10, which I didn't think was a motion block. I totally didn't just have this created on GPT-3, so I didn't have to do anything. Yeah, that's not a motion block. But we'll forget about that one. Go to XY and dot dot dot, like Dev likes to say. So there's a ton of them. I'm not going to go over all of them, but they're great because you can, at the start of your game, you can always have it go to the same position. If you want to be able to control where your player goes, you can move 10 steps in that direction. And Sam, you're a big platformer creator. You've made a lot of platformers. So has Joseph with his Winter Wonderland and all
I'm pretty sure he's only made 2.
No, he's made a few. I don't want to waste the time talking about his, but he's made Winter Wonderland. He made the trailer for that one called Exploration Cube. He also did.
Remember that?
He did. Oh well, he did the platformer Engine. And there was one other that was basically. Oh yeah, platformer mobile friendly. Was his actually his first game. So if you don't know who Joseph is because you're from another school or something, he's one of the big hatch people here in Hop Hog.
He's also the weirdest one.
He never completes a game though. I think we counted, and there's only 4 games that doesn't say out like a demo up like beta or anything like that. Trailer. All his games are trailers. But yeah, so that's an example. If you want to make a platformer, you need a motion block. Now, there's a lot of games that don't include motion blocks. Like for instance, quiz games, you don't have them. If you're making like even like the simplest concepts include them too. So, that's why we're doing it. They're a lot more important than like my blocks or create your own block because you can still do those things without it.
Yeah.
So Sam, give us an example of when you would use the go to random position block.
So, say for example, you have a clicker game, but you want to make it a challenging clicker game because clicker games are boring and useless. So whenever you click on a sprite, it goes to a random position, and you have to find it. Now that wouldn't be hard, but you would still use go to random position.
Yeah,
Another example would be if you're making an intro, an outro, or any other special effects, and you want to make like gravity like objects that fall from the sky repeatedly and bonk your enemies on the head, but we don't talk about that part. So you could have like a go to random position, but then set the Y. So like the X is completely random, but the Y is not.
yeah, I believe I used the go to random on, I would probably say my first game. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I would call it my first game. Color
Oh
Tap,
yeah.
a throwback to whoever remembers that. It was a game where you click on these different squares, and and then you had a score, and then you could reset too. There's no high score though, because I remember I was like, I want a high score, and that's the first time I learned about cloud variables. But yeah, looking back, that is my first game. Then I had Balloon Pop, never came out. And then I had a great idea to make a Pokemon card game where like you can trade with other players. And then I did a Joseph, and I just never completed it or really started it at all. So, throwback to who remembers those things. So
I
yeah,
do.
of course you do. uh, So there's change x by 10 and there's also change y by 10. So of course, change x is going to make you either go left or right, and change y is going to make you go up or down. But there's also move 10. So move 10 moves you in the direction you're facing. So if I was facing up and I said change x by 10, I would still go to the right. But if I was pointing up and I said move 10, I would go 10 up. Um, so yeah, so both are very useful. For controlled movements, you're gonna use change X. But if you're like making a game where the player follows the mouse pointer, you're gonna use move. So both are
Yeah.
very important blocks. Also, set rotation style left right. That is a motion block, and it's incredibly like important if you're making, I think a platformer it's important for. And I didn't basically what it does is when you get to a certain point you just turn left, or if you get to a certain point you turn right. It's not like you get to point up, down, diagonal. It's just either left or right. And you would
Yeah.
think that's dumb, but it's really smart, because I didn't know that when I made like another one of my first games. I had to like have two costumes for one where he flips upside down and like turns 80 degrees, and it was way too complicated. And it to fix that problem, you can use the set rotation style left right block, and it's a one block fix and it works great.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are like one of the most important, and I think we'll wrap it up with a few less important ones. Um, the glide blocks, or actually one of the more important ones. I should have kept that towards the beginning. If you want to move in a direction, right, or go to a certain X, Y, but you don't want it to go there instantly. You want it to go there, over a second, so you see it actually moving. You can use the glide example, 1 second to 0, 0, and that's going to bring you to the center over 1 second. So that's
Yeah.
pretty important. I believe I used it. And I forget. I think in Oyo Halloween, when you see the character move from the left of the screen to the house, it's actually a glide block moving them there. So
Wow.
yeah. So also point towards mouse pointer again is very important for games where you're moving following the mouse pointer, because that's how you get your player to actually move towards the mouse pointer. So that's a very important block. So,
Yeah.
Sam, do you have any final thoughts?
Um. So no.
Well, it sounds like he doesn't. uh, well, thank you for listening to today's episode of T-Sarp. I hope that you learned something and that you enjoyed it. And we will all see you in the next episode. This is Andrew. We're signing off. Bye bye.